Hello and welcome to Miss Loisel's podcast. Today I have our honored guest, Tom Althouse. He's the creator and author of The Matrix movie that everybody knows. He wrote the script. And let's give it up for him to tell us when he wrote the script and how it's been and everything about the script, because it hasn't gone the way most writers of scripts go. So let's hear it from him himself.
Okay, yes, I'm Tom Althouse. This is the actual screenplay right there. And it can't be refuted at all. It's the only copyrights on the Matrix story is this one. Warner Brothers even says they don't have a copyright on Matrix. They didn't claim any. Sophia Stewart, who claims to be the mother of the Matrix, was put in place by Warner Brothers to be a first claimant to throw people off. She didn't win anything, really, because she only has 33 pages. She never wrote a screenplay. But Warner Brothers put her forward to make the claim as the mother of the Matrix. This is actually the only story that exists that's a full 128 pages. 1 minute equals 1 page in a script. And Hollywood transfer time into a film, rendering it. So this would be 128 minutes. So regular film written that way as a shooting script. In it, you'll see all the shooting directions like a shooting script should have, which is shot, interior, that kind of stuff. It's a shooting script. And you'll see the date on here. This is the 1998 entry. They shot in 1999, the first installment of The Matrix. This is the 1998 version, according to the Copyright Office. Now, Sophia Stewart from Warner Brothers is claiming this is forgery. Well, it would take a lot of money to make the machine shop to be able to render that stamp right there. The people who sign signatories on it are from the Copyright Office. They could be contacted. They have their titles and everything right there, nothing hidden. And also you have a PAU number. So if you look at the PAU number right here, that's registered at the Copyright Office. Anybody can look up that number right there and find this script. So this is definitely not a forgery. And there it is. Sophia Stewart's a fraud. And she's put in place to mislead the public. So she had a summary judgment against her. In my situation, they provided their own attorneys, who are defense attorneys, all classmates from University of Berkeley, to make sure my case would be thrown. They solicited me, promised me the world, and had Sophia Stewart come in at the same time, if you look her up, to mislead me and make sure I didn't claim Matrix 1. Well, that's how they were going to throw the case. Anyway, so there's so much to the story. And if you look online, you'll see, oh, we lost this case. Well, we never allowed any evidence to be entered. They blocked everything. In fact, we had won and in a default, and they kept us from filing it. Those attorneys are supposed to be ours. We're working for Warner Bros. And kept us from filing the win. So it's like, yeah, it's been nightmare. Yeah.
So you couldn't enter any of the evidence in, which you had evidence. And what happened to your other screen plays from before that you'd previously written that had gone MIA on you? What happened?
Well, what had happened was the supplied attorney, Tony Rankin of Maui, had a suspended license, first of all, ran the clock out on statute of limitations, took 2.5 to 3 years to run it out, went on vacation, was time to file, and then appears after unable to reach him, after like a month period of unable to reach him, the day after the deadline's passed for filing, he appears and says, oh, I guess we don't have a case. So it was just all set up. But he was also responsible for taking away the first drafts of our work by having access to me and soliciting myself and my family. He was able to have access to our original works and said, give me everything. I'll work with what you got. And then he just commandeered everything and gave it to Warner Brothers. So we never saw it from 2012 to this year. We never saw the drafts that were pre-96. The reason is, if you look at the online, the Wachowskis never claimed the title Matrix until around 1996. 95, late 95, 96. So what Warner Brothers' strategy was to use their own attorney in place, a defense attorney, Tony Rankin with a suspended license, to run the clock, get access to our evidence, take our evidence for Warner Brothers, and then the claim that there is no working drafts pre-96. Well, it blew up in their face. What happened was 2 days before Easter this year, these screenplays were restored. And what's interesting is this one right here is dated 1995. This is, you can see it's original screenplay, right? Highlighted, everything notated. It's signed by Trisha Fike, October 7, 1995. You can see the mold in the corner. This is pretty detailed. So she's a witness. I haven't seen Trisha Fike since 1995, but here it is, this screenplay restored. And what's this draft? And what's interesting is it's missing its cover page. Now, the reason it's missing its cover page, like here is another 1993 Cover page 1, see all the pages? Full screenplay, 1993, restored also in a stack of these on my bed 2 days before Easter this year. I'm being told it's a CIA film department allowing us now to come back and win. They're fed up with the losers like Sophia Stewart and Warner Brothers and Wachowski's and Joel Silver, who claims he's a producer. They're fed up with them. So they want to actually go the other way now. So the FBI is against us in this. They're working for Sophia Stewart, Warner Brothers, and the studios, profiting off them, while CIA is actually helping us. So it's just like the movie where the agents in the movie actually turn and help the underground and Neo because the architect's purging them. They screwed that up in the re-rendering of it. So anyway, here's this one without a cover page. The reason it doesn't have a cover page is while Rankin at our home on a Saturday in 2012 was going through all the stuff on the dining room table, right? Coming over for dinner, apparently, with his son. And to go over the stuff. He gets a phone call on a Saturday and says, I have to take this. You have to leave the room. He took, after saying, is this everything? You know, it's like, you know, Pulp, or what is it? LA Confidential. When Kevin Spacey's asked, you know, have you told anybody? No. And then he's shot. Well, basically, Rankin's saying, is this everything? Yes. You have to leave the room. I got a call. And then he goes through and destroys the most key evidence or removes it. So he took the cover page of this and shoved it down my son's art box way back then, right? And because he didn't want any evidence of the screenplay surfacing, which has the 1995 date, pre-96. He's following the orders of Warner Brothers for that strategy. No working drafts to be shown before 1996. And what you have, too, is them on record saying they have no working drafts. We're the only ones that do. We're the only ones that have a full copyrighted screenplay. On set, what Warner Brothers did was had the Wachowskis on set going off a visual storyboard of what they lifted off the original screenplay. And the original screenplay, this one right here, the 98 version, was on set. And I was told this by the fight choreographer of Matrix, one of them, the main one, that this was in one hand. The visual storyboard was in the other. The visual storyboard, 600-page long, fans will know what this is, was all these images they thought were, quote, cool from this screenplay. Jack's the neck, Squiddy's little girl, identical figures facing off, red pill, blue pill, all that's taken from this into a visual storyboard that the Wachowskis pitched to Warner Brothers. They can make it up as they go along on set, filling in what they're familiar with, like Trayman from Ghost, Necromancer, Dark City. All these things, Alice in Wonderland, are filled in as they make it up as they go along. So that's how they rendered it and stole it. It was a bad idea. It all fell apart. It didn't tie together. Anybody who's seen The Matrix would probably realize it does not tie together. So the Warner Bros. Attorneys are claiming that it actually was a seamless piece written in 93. They have no screenplays. They have no working drafts. They say it. But now the Wachowskis and the producer Joel Silver are claiming it was never meant to be connected. The different Matrix 1, 2, 3, and 4 were never meant to be connected. They're all meant to be incongruent, separate stories. Really? Then you need to get on the same page with their attorneys. So what you have is all these things were taken, including this one. Draft 1, March 21st, 1993. That's a long time ago. And look at this. It even shows how to put the clips on that are right there. See? It shows a drawing how to do it. So I'm learning as I go. And there in the corner, it's talking about this is Christmas 1994. It's been reviewed again. I went through it again and did highlights and things, which you can see on there. And so this is like Christmas 94 is right after 1993. So, I mean, I'm sorry, January 94, right after Christmas 93. So this is proof that the work was, we have all the drafts from 1993 now restored to our home 2 days before Easter. And it's interesting they pick Easter. Why'd they pick Easter? Because Neo is going to rise again. They're planning on having Neo, Thomas A., they double named the character, to mock the author. So it's Thomas A. Now, the really fascinating part, and here's another one. I want to show you one more. Another draft that was restored in that stack on my bed in my bedroom 2 days before Easter. Another 1993 version with a note to Greg Mazer, my friend in L.A., who worked on the battle sequences with me. He sent an affidavit and signed it notarized where he says, yes, I saw the full script in 93. That's a real problem for Warner Brothers. And so right here, and for Sophia Stewart. So right here is a note from him that they included in the restoration of the screenplay from Greg to me, saying, yeah, here's the whole files, here's being restored to you. So they even did that. So the CIA, if they were the ones involved, as Michael Jaco is suggesting, the film department, were very thorough in making sure everything was returned. Now, I don't know how they got it from Warner Brothers, unless it was just a cease and desist entry thing where they just busted in. Like in the screenplay, the 3 CIA operatives come right in, the Smith agents come right into the FBI building and take the files regarding my situation. And looks like that actually happened. So they're in my room now. And what's interesting is I'm being told, I've been told many times by operatives, CIA operatives, that they're fascinated by the story. They're fascinated by my story. And they're like, we love your work, that kind of stuff. And in the original screenplay, they end up being the heroes. In the original screenplay, the agents team with Underground to go against the architect. The Wachowskis screwed that up. See? So what happens is they break free. Once the control room, the room of monitors, which doesn't belong to the architect, it belongs to Smith. Smith is the one that has the room of monitors in the original work. The Wachowskis, in rendering it off the original storyboard, lifted it out of context, put it with the architect, using the silver pen that belongs to Neo, which represents creativity and free will. They give it to the architect. And you'll see in that screen, this ruined it. So they have the architect clicking the silver pen in a close-up of it, using it as a channel changer, a remote control channel changer. It's supposed to be Smith. It's supposed to be Neo's pen. So they lift everything out of order, including the liquid mirrors. The liquid mirrors don't belong in Morpheus's smoking lounge with a smoking chair. It was so stupid when you understand the concepts back where they should be. So it's supposed to be the liquid mirrors are at the train station scene. The liquid mirrors are the security devices at the train station scene, where if you take the red pill based on the blood of the children, which is the bad pill, the architect makes sure Smith offers only it. But the Wachowskis wanted to make it Eat Me, Drink Me from Alice in Wonderland as they lifted it. So they made it Alice in Wonderland, and he offers both blue pill, red pill, while Morpheus is sitting in his smoking chair so Neo can put his hands through the mirror. It's so badly done. These are failed writers that failed at everything. And they're allowed to steal this work and re-render it. It's insane. So what you saw in Matrix was a compilation that did not tie together of all the lifted images they thought were cool off of this screenplay that was submitted in 93. And here's the version from 98 used in 99 on set.
So you submitted it to Warner Brothers?
Full submission through attorneys. We have the letter from Boyd and Boyd of Norfolk. James Boyd is the one that submitted it. We have his letter of submission. We have the drafts. We have the story treatment cover letter. We have the music that he submitted. We have the receipt and tracking number he has from where it was submitted in June 25th, 1993. So Warner Brothers is caught coming and going. So they had to make it look like Sophia Stewart won, but she didn't win anything. She has nothing. She has no screenplay whatsoever. But she was my handler along with Tony Rankin to make sure my case would be lost, that they had control of everything I had.
You were set up.
Set up completely. But with the evidence being restored now, and we can get them on fraud and everything else they did, harassment, fraud, murder, it's like, yeah, we can come back. Now, President Trump, Roseanne Barr said, he knows our complete story. I was on Roseanne Barr's show twice, going on a third time soon. So on there, she was saying, look, your story's amazing. It's incredible. The greatest story. She got off of the platform where she was a key speaker for Trump at his rally before he was reelected. And she called me from there, texted me from there saying, I'm going to contact you in the morning. I didn't know if it was real. She contacted me from Trump's house and told me that, the whole family knows it. This is the biggest story. They're waiting for the right time for it all to come forward. So that's why I've been basically locked in my own train station scene. It's all waiting for the right time for me to be revealed. So I'm basically in the green room backstage waiting for President Trump to say, okay, let's bring this all forward. Now, Sophia Stewart is going crazy about this. Warner Bros. Is going crazy about this. You're seeing all these resignations. That's why they're planning to redo Matrix. They're going to redo in number 5. Yep. Try to make a lot of money off it and redo it, do over. So what's going on? My headphones just fell off. What's going on is they're going to do it without the Wachowskis being involved as writers. And they're going to go ahead and have it so that they redo it with another director and writer to do it more like the way it should be, so it ties together.
Wow.
See? So then you'll hear Warner Brothers go, well, we did mean it to tie together, and now it's through this guy. It's basically admitting the theft Because if the Wachowskis they've touted as being the writers and creators all over the place through the galas and interviews, why suddenly is a different guy coming in to redo it? See? And they're going to have Larry Wachowski. Andy wasn't want to touch it because he knows we're coming forward. He knows that Trump knows. He knows that we got all this evidence. The CIA is restoring our stuff. So what's happening is Andy doesn't want to be involved. But Larry, the real monster in the theft, Larry Wachowski, who failed at everything and now is a girl, but he's not really a girl. He just looks like a girl. He is going to be given a producer position, which means he's no longer a writer or creator. He's on the money side, a front guy. So he is not involved. And people can easily see that he is no longer involved in the creative process. It's unreal what's going on. So we've got them coming and going. And the paparazzi in Hollywood and Maui said, just stay alive. Dangerous people they actually said dangerous people are working for you now in Hollywood. Yeah, they said stay alive and dangerous people are working for you in Hollywood. Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. They turned on themselves.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So does it feel like the Matrix movie, your screenplay that you wrote, does it feel like a real life script kind of coming out into the world? Like,
that's a great assessment and a great question, because yes, I'm even told by producers from Hollywood that now call me and say, besides saying we're still following your formula with like using the credits after 12 minutes into the movie so that they fit in and tease the audience. So like we're using that device. That. Yes, that was mine. It's all in the screenplay here. So what you have is they're saying they put you in your own movie. And the studios say we put you in your own movie. So they are saying the attorneys from Warner Brothers, attorneys from Hollywood, are now saying that the greater movie is the real life story bigger than the Matrix, and that's what Roseanne Barr was conveying from Trump's home, is that the greatest story now is the real life story. So now Warner Brothers, here's how it's coming on page 12. You'll see here too, where credits start. So that was the convention we started.
So that was the first time that was seen in the movie industry, correct?
From what we understood, yes, that's the first time it's been done, and that was originally conceived in 1989. So you don't have anything before that. I always thought it was stupid that you had credits first, then you start your film. You've already ruined the illusion that audiences can immerse in your film. So I was pitching that, look, if you start with a bang, start with the action, and then roll your credits later when the audience needs a breath from all the action, 12 minutes later, it makes more sense. And when you roll those credits, make them teasers. Make it all kinds of scenes for future events in your film that can't possibly look like they're going to tie together. And then audiences are cued in that they will tie together and they can watch it unfold and be amazed how it all comes together. That's art. And they have never stopped ever since. Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, anything you have.
A lot of people now, a lot of movies now.
Industry standard. Yeah. Also the femme fatale. The femme fatale came from, and it was pointed out by Hollywood Netflix people, that the femme fatale came from the work too, where the woman sacrifices herself for the man she cares about. Oh. And commits, that was first in this story also. Now people can do a lot of digging and try to say, well, it was kind of done here in Star Trek, or it was kind of done here, there. But no, the first time it was really, really laid out in full ever in the film industry was in this piece. So it's like all these firsts, and that blew the producers away. Now what happened was Warner Brothers realized that they were in cohesion with Disney, Paramount, and they were trading personnel back and forth between them, top people. And they decided to offer the stolen work like a den of thieves. What they did was they put a copyright on it and ordered and commissioned Tom Hanks to rewrite it, not the Wachowskis. So Tom Hanks was apparently involved in the re-rendering of making Matrix 1. Isn't that something? They wanted him, because the Wachowskis were iffy. They weren't sure if they wanted them because they're failed at everything. So they wanted somebody who might have legitimacy. Now, Tom Hanks isn't a writer, but what they were thinking is, what we'll do is we'll have people might believe Tom Hanks did it or suddenly got the writing bug, so we'll use him as a laundering agent. So Tom Hanks insisted that it have ordered and commissioned by Warner Brothers and who? HBO. HBO does Game of Thrones, and here's the other kicker. HBO with J.J. Martin or whatever it is. J.J. Martin is like the janitor. J.J. Martin is the guy in-house for HBO. So what they did was they got an in-house employee, just like they were saying Tom Hanks, in-house employee, ordered and commissioned. They bring them in-house just like they did the Wachowskis, brought in-house to steal the work from in-house. So they have people claim it in-house. That's why they brought failed writers in, see, and wine to dine them and promise them the world. So what you have is Tom Hanks brought in-house, J.G. Martin's already in-house. So they do Game of Thrones with a team of writers, and they just mock the original author to death. Their best work comes from mocking their authors, because that keeps the project interesting for them. Now, keep in mind, get this. The graphic designer, Susanna Bolgen from Matrix, she did an article and said that to keep the project interesting, the Wachowskis were stacking entries in graphics that nobody would ever know for a split second, and that these were there to keep the project interesting. Again, stealing it to keep it interesting is their best work. Stolen work makes their mind get excited and do their best work. It allows them to focus if they're stealing it. So in the Matrix, in the interrogation scene, they did just that, what Susanna Bolgen, their graphic designer, said. They did a graphic, a rap sheet on Neo, first scene they shot, first scene I wrote, where it has my high school, Central West, my birthday, July 2nd, my fiance's birthday, March 11th, as Neo's, my dad's name, John A., my marital status, single. My aptitudes in the column, it says TA 4099. TA was 4099. So they have all this stacked on this rap sheet. The first graphic they did for a split second, as Susanna Bolgen said, for their eyes only, upside down. So the first graphic they made and shot is upside down for a split second, filled with the original author's information. Now, if this has been anything else, it wouldn't matter. Sophia Stewart, the mother of the Matrix, blew a gasket. She threw a fit that this was in Matrix 1, and I had been notified by someone in the story department that it was there, because I'm not supposed to claim Matrix 1, they said. So that's how they throw the case. But so it's all there. Yeah, I was informed by a guy from the story department from Warner Brothers. So it's all there. I would never have known and seen it unless he contacted me, right? And nobody else would recognize it because it's not their material. It's not their stats. So that's why they also double named Neo Thomas A. and gave him 2 birthdays, September 13, and also my fiance's birthday, who was at the pitch session with me at the time. There's my fiance, Otika Ball, Senator David Bourne's niece, March 11. So they double birthdayed him to mock the author by using fiance's birthday on the rap sheet. They double named him to mock the author by putting Thomas A. on that rap sheet. So you don't double name a character. It confuses your audience. But they wanted to mock the author, and that's what this was all about.
So they had you in there multiple times, mocking you in there. And would you like me to show that? I have a...
pop it up. Yeah, pop it up.
Okay.
That'd be great. Yeah. If you can show that and how fast it's flashed, we can judge for ourselves if it's a split second. So, yeah. It's okay. If it shows, it shows.
To do the screen share.
Well, let me tell you more while you're doing that. So in Matrix, they put my exact birthday on the Animatrix clock, and Animatrix fills the screen, which is a very expensive graphic. And in it, they have my exact birthday, right? So go ahead. Yeah.
So here we are with screen share.
Okay. Perfect. It's showing. I think this is very important for people to know. Sophia Stewart, Warner Brothers, Joel Silver, the Wachowskis do not want you to see this. And so here we have exact matches from the original screenplay. And you'll see the inserts of what you see, the architect's room monitors, which is actually supposed to be the central monitoring room, which is Smith's room monitors, where the Neo looks in the eyes of Bane and sees Smith. Right there is the original description of that from the original pages right there. It shows that he's looking through the eyes of the agent and seeing Smith. It's right what they just lifted everything off this in that visual storyboard and then re-render it in a really bad way. Look how they overblow Smith as a flaming, almost demon-looking person. In ours, it's not. He sees just Smith or talks to Smith through to the room of monitors where he knows Smith is monitoring. So it's not this flaming thing. They overdo everything and dumb down everything because the Wachowskis have the brain the size of a pea. So it's like that's what they did. They ruined it. Film writers rendering great work and making it awful. This is a problem with copyright law. When we do get finally due process and we don't have our case thrown, such as what was used by Rankin when we were trying to fire him. We tried to fire him with a letter, my family. And when he was fired, a half hour after he's fired, he contacted his classmate and friend at Warner Brothers and told me later, he said, I called her a half hour after you fired me. I told them they could proceed to summary judgment without any objections, which means no evidence will be entered. The only way you can win a summary judgment. And that this phone call would suffice for the required meeting. That's pretty cheap. So we called them on a phone and said, go ahead and throw this case. He just fired me. Go ahead and throw the case. I'm permitting you, as his former attorney, to go ahead and proceed to summary judgment without any objections. It's our right to enter our evidence to prove MSJ is wrong. The judges are supposed to rule in favor of the plaintiff, where if there's any evidence at all, tribal issue. Well, I would say Jackson Eck, proof of copyright script, the affidavits from the submitting attorney with the track number, receipts, right to Warner Brothers Studios. I would story department. I think everything's there that it would prove it, including inserting all my personal bio, is a slam dunk win. So the only way you can win is have a hired thug, this crackhead, Tony Rankin, make sure permitting them to throw your case after he's planted with you.
And here it says that they took 2 decades trying to erase him and his family. Can you tell us what happened to your family?
Yes, they bought off my sisters and my brothers. They promised them all kinds of rewards. They want to be writers themselves. So they were promised that they would have, actually were given trips to Caribbean, London. They were given awards. They got to meet with this congressman who's a lifelong FBI operative, Brian Fitzpatrick, look him up from Pennsylvania, who wined and dined them, black tie dinners, promised them positions, gave them the rewards, gave them work. All this stuff was done to turn them. They turned. And then my 2 sons were murdered. They were murdered Hollywood style and Masonic style. And so my last son, I was told by a Disney attorney on tape, a Disney rep, said that they knew I was concerned for my last son's safety and they would keep me from talking. That's what they were telling me. And that the reason this was all done to me, because I asked the question, why was this done to my family? They didn't know I was taping it, which is good. They said that you were too close. You were daring to face us down. That's the quote. You dared to face us down. So from that, I guess that means you tried to claim your rights when you should have just shut up and let us take your work. So Disney was the main player controlling everything, along with Warner Brothers and Paramount. And Sony was brought in. And Miramax Films is what they call the Disney Library. Miramax Films was formed in 1993. After my work was submitted, they decided to film a company that would launder stolen work. Harvey Weinstein's boss, Mike Lang, was put as head of Miramax Films at that time, with a title basically that goes executive in charge of strategy for acquisition of intellectual property. So there's a New Jersey warehouse that's revealed in this Vanity Fair article where they have a New Jersey warehouse of hard copy scripts with this one in it. And what they're doing is they're saying that they're going to get ownership of scripts they don't own, these hard copies in this warehouse in New Jersey, which sounds like mafia. What they're going to do is they're going to wait for the authors to die, and then they'll simply put through the venue they want, like they did with Sophia Stewart, put the venue they want to claim the work from the deceased author as theirs. That's how they're doing it. So that's why authors are hanging off of doorknobs. That's why the suicide things and Death of the Sons is supposed to prompt you to take your life. There's the affidavit from Greg Mazer where he says, yes, I saw the whole thing. James Boyd, the submitting attorney, the one with the green arrow, that's the one where he has a total testimony and the materials that he submitted to Warner Brothers, verifying even the tracking number receipt. The planted attorney, Tony Rankin, claimed he talked to Boyd and said, he has nothing, you lost your case, don't talk to him. I had told him not to contact him when I had fired him. I contacted Boyd and he had everything. So it's just how hard they went. And you'll see the players there. Lorenzo Di Bonaventura is the one I pitched it to. Joel Silver is the one that gave it to, still claims he's the part owner of the franchise. And then Dino Laurentiis at the bottom there, that grizzly man who's now deceased. Dino Laurentiis is the one that wined and dined the Wachowskis. He was the front man to bring them in, along with Mel Gibson, to steal the work. So Mel Gibson's a baddie in this, a very big baddie in this. and was employed by Warner Brothers and rewarded by Joel Silver. And that's why he should not be our ambassador to Hollywood. And the picture down in the corner was me as a young age. Here's proof of access. There's the submission letter, certified mail. So you see the submission letter right there, certified mail of go back one more back. So one more, other way. I'm sorry, forward. I blew it there. So forward. And what you're going to see next here, right there, is the submission letter from June 25th, 1993. So this is the proof. Look at the tracking number and receipt at the bottom. This was proof that James Boyd sent it in. And if you look at the direct access proof of inverse ratio rule, which is a quote by the courts themselves, inverse ratio rule means they require a lower standard of proof of substantial similarities when it comes to showing copyright theft. So this letter right here nails it for proof of access because it goes right to Warner Brothers Studios, right to the story department. Certified mail, letter, and receipt tracking number says there, right addressed to the person Bonaventura from Warner Brothers, who still claims he shepherded and discovered the story. Certified letter, right to care of Elizabeth, who was the friend of Ledger D. Bonaventura. So we've got everything right here that proves it and wins our case hands down, where Sophia Stewart only has 33 pages, never wrote a screenplay. And Wachowskis don't have a screenplay. Their attorney's on tape saying, we have no working drafts. It's a moot point to ask for discovery. And that's from Rankin, the supply that he had, my deposition, where he gave the wrong tape recorder back to me. It's illegal to record these things. He recorded it and turned mine off when I was asking, can I record? No, you cannot. He takes mine, pockets mine with his, turns his on, records everything to protect his butt, and gives the wrong tape recorder. On it, you hear them saying, it's a moot point to ask for discovery. We have no working drafts. Anyway, there'll be a lot of shills that'll be coming forward, as they do on every show. And they'll be saying, oh, it's a fraud. He's a smooth talker. Don't believe him. He's Sophia Stewart people and people like that. There's a lot of people that are hired to do this, to try to confuse the public. But the evidence is the evidence that cannot be revoked. And they know that. So they're getting desperate now. So your timing's perfect for this show because they're losing their footing of lying and getting people to think it's all lies. Tony Rankin wrote a letter saying it's all lies. My answer is, which part? You know, everything is so concise and clear. Anyway.
And do you do a lot of these shows to prove that this is what's happening and to talk about your journey?
I was told by doing shows I would keep my last son alive. Disney call, they said that you've won the chess game because you put word out. So I'm not seeing any returns for it, but my son's alive. And as people get this, it's what's turning the tables. And eventually, maybe lifetime or not my lifetime, but in my son's lifetime, the rights will be restored. Now, what you have right here is, remember I told you about Tom Hanks being ordered and commissioned, hired as an employee of Warner Brothers and HBO to write The Immortals? There's your entry right there. You can look up that entry number document right there at the Copyright Office. If you blow it up, people can see it if they blow it up. And you'll see that the entry date, it says date of execution, is June 25th, right? So what's interesting, June 25th, 1998, right before they're going to shoot 99. So they're using Tom Hanks as backup in case the Wachowskis screw up, right? Right there, right. And so what's interesting is they're using the date that was on my submission letter by my attorney, Boyd of Norfolk, James Boyd. So June 25th, 93 is when he sends a letter in. So they do this arbitrary date of execution, June 25th, 98. See what they're doing? They're matching it up. They're trying to be clever, and it's making more of a thumbprint. But this is The Immortals by Tom Hanks, employee for hire, Warner Brothers, Time Warner, and HBO. Isn't that something? Order to commission, certificate of authorship. This document's only 3 pages long. It's not a screenplay. It's just an entry in 1999 to say Tom Hanks will get credit for the work. Isn't that something?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So Warner Bros. Didn't copyright the Matrix title. They copyrighted the Immortals title. Here you see the man I pitched it to, Lorenzo Di Bonaventura. And it says in the green arrow, included discovering and shepherding the Matrix into production. Isn't that something? So he's the one that I pitched it to, and then he gave it to Joel Silver. Now, they say Joel Silver and Lorenzo Di Bonaventura never met. Well, they're at the same Warner Brothers location. And how did Joe Silver get the work, right? In 94, he enters into the story department by himself without the Wachowskis being in the picture yet. Wachowskis weren't even part of it yet. So in 94, he enters it by himself after getting it from Lorenzo di Bonaventura. Go to the next slide. I'm not sure what follows on this particular thread, but we'll see what we got.
Okay, sure. The Mortals Matrix ripoff.
Okay, this is very, very intense and very convoluted, but you'll see in the corner, left lower corner, Lenny Coco, the famous singer, still has his singing group on the Billboard charts, top 100. But down there's Lenny Coco. That's who I pitched it to, who's best friends with Lorenzo di Bonaventura. So he had me come to his house in Long Island and pitch it to him. What's really interesting is, before he died, attorneys were actually working for Warner Brothers, had called him twice. And he said they had him basically do a script saying, Tom Althouse is crazy. I never met him. I never heard him before. And so they were, okay, we're good. We're good. Let's get Tom Althouse on the phone. So then they contact me and go, look, he's saying you're crazy. We called him twice. So let's give him a call and see what he has to say. So he's supposed to say, what? You're crazy. I never met you. So this taped call, which is on the website, tomalthouse.com, put there by Jen Marie, who did my website for me. You'll see this tape there, Lenny Coco tape. And what's fascinating about this tape is you hear their paralegal make the call, and you hear him do his script, Lenny Coco going, I've never heard of you. I'm sorry. I don't know who you are. I never met you. Then I go thanking him anyway. You'll hear me on the tape going, or that MP3 going, thank you anyway. I want to thank you for what you did. It changed my life. And for my son and I, you made a huge difference, even if you don't remember. Then he goes like this. He starts to have a change of heart. This is a huge reveal that's going to be in the next trial. Warner Brothers knows this is coming up in the next trial, the real one, which you're trying to say can't happen. It will. So on it, you hear him go, okay, listen, describe my house. I describe it to the detail. In Long Island, I said, walk in at the duplex. You walk in on the lower floor. You have a kind of a bookshelves on the right. You have your little round small dining room table on the left. Staircases to the left of that going up. Great carpeting. You've got the island. I'm very like visual memory, photographic. So I'm like the refrigerators in the back, kind of beige green in the back, with a yellow phone on the side facing the windows in the back of the kitchen area. And that's where I made the call. And he's like, okay, describe me. Well, you're sort of balding. You got glasses, not to be, you're short in stature, not to pick, but that's how you look. And I said, he's like, describe my daughter. Your daughter has soft, curly blonde hair at the time. She's 5 years old. She was sitting at the table with your wife. He said, describe my wife. Then he goes like this. Okay, you were here. My wife told me my granddaughter remembers you from here too. She told me last night. Yes, you were here. Then you hear their paralegal go like this. Upset, she goes, you're vindicated. You're vindicated. You're vindicated. Wow. So Lenny Coco turned around, and then he goes like this. You'll hear it on the tape or the MP3. I want you to write my life story. Like I said before, I want you to write my life story. And here's my number. Call me anytime. Anytime, call me. And, is there anything I can gain from this too? Because, I mean, I was the one that allowed you to pitch it. All there for the future, and Warner Bros. Knows it. That's why they're resigning now. And that's probably why the CIA are restoring all our works right now, 2 days before Easter. And they're picking Easter to do it. Very clever timing, because we're rising again. And with Roseanne Barr saying it's the greatest story, with Hollywood attorneys saying it's the greatest story, with all of Trump's family knowing it, they're saying they're waiting for the right time, it is game over. Yes, the chess game's won. Sophia Stewart is a fraud. She was brought in by Warner Bros. To be a first claimant, so nobody pays attention to the guy who wouldn't know till later. And they're bringing all kinds of people to try to shake it up. So if you see comments about like he makes no sense, he's lying, it's just know all the evidence is here. We've got them. The last people that will stop will be the minions, we call them, the minions, the ones that are brought in to try to confuse the public and shout us down and be nasty. They usually use foul language. They're the ones that'll be the last to stop, because they're the ones that get rewarded for causing, trying to shake up the public. And Sophia Stewart's one of those main minions brought in by Warner Bros.
And for those that do not know who Roseanne Barr is, because she's on your website, but could you just tell us a little bit about her?
She's basically queen of the world. She's an amazing woman who stood through everything like I did. She brought me in too, said like, Disney did to me what they did to you. She said, your story is just the greatest story. It was really a big heart of hers to say that. She has a big heart because she could have said her story was the biggest story, but she's like, your story is the biggest story. And so she's like, you're genuine, you're real. This is all real. I want you to see you get your rights back. That's why I want you on my program, that the people can actually know this is legit.
Yeah.
And so, her first interview, there was like, right away, basically, there was like 260,000 people plus in all these likes. The only negatives, the only thumbs down were from a group, this guy called Steven Yassel. What a great name, huh? Who was brought to turn on me. Steven Yassel was brought in from Yissel Missile. What a stupid name. The guy is actually, this is how these minions work. They're brought in, right? He lives in his dad's basement. It's like, like the old joke from Saturday Night Live, like the Schwing brothers in their basement. Anyway, so he does a business where he takes discount movies from a Walmart bin and then puts them online and sells them. That's his business from his dad's basement, but it complains about his dad. So that's the guy they brought in to shout me down. He has 12 people that are basically doing what he wants. So that's why there was 12 dislikes on Roseanne Barr show. All the rest were hundreds and hundreds of likes. So they're trying to create that image of, no one's interested, no one cares, which Sophia Stewart contacts me a lot and tries to tell me that.
We can hear
so that's their job. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what's going on. I'm surprised our program hasn't been interrupted, your program, because all other shows, it gets interrupted all the time. You'll have mics go dead. You'll have the interruption. You'll get garbling. You'll get the visuals cutting. You'll get all kinds of stuff happening. Yours seems to be flawless and clean, which is very, very rare. Very rare. So, you must be a Trinity. So, so here we go. Yeah, but here's all the players right there. Yeah, look at that picture in the corner down there, lower right. Look at who the Wachowskis actually are. Remember they said they failed at everything? Okay, so go, others, there we go. Scan it over. And I want you to see these guys. Look at this guy. Look at the lower right. He looks like he's in diapers drooling. That's Larry Wachowski in the white shirt. And look at the goon next to him. That's Andy Wachowski. And look at him. He's like a bar thug. And now they made them both have to look like women. Why? They're being punished for putting the author's original stats in the first graphic and broadcasting in the films. They can't remove it. It's on every DVD, even old VHS and beta. It's all there. All my stats, high school, birthday, dad's name, all my stuff. So these clowns that the guy who called me and told it was there from the story department said they were mocking you. They hate you because they don't understand your work. Well, look at their faces. Of course they don't understand the work. That's why they used a visual storyboard, made up as went along and screwed up everything, including making the architect use that channel changer pen. Oh my God. And putting Morpheus in the smoking chair. So stupid. Anyway, so they butchered the work, but the work was good enough on its own that by lifting all the visuals they thought were cool off the original work, it still somehow held value. And when the end on set, these drilling guys down there in the corner, they had an argument on set. They made this public. An argument on set, the 1998 version here used in 99, by the fight choreographer telling us. But they said, everybody, including Joel Silver, said, let's just blow up the Matrix. It was ripped apart so badly by lifting all the images out. What do you think is going to happen? That it didn't tie together, right? So Joel Silver's quoted on set in 2003 when they did 2 and 3 and Animatrix, saying, we hope when we watch the rushes that it'll tie together. We hope we used up the rest of the story. You hope you used up the story? Well, then it wasn't a screenplay. You're using it on set and hoping you used it up. And so what happens is these guys said, no, we're keeping the same ending. Keeping the exact same ending, which is the little girl renewed to life with a pulse wave coming out, renewing her from the identical figures facing off in the crater where the one goes in, and you've got her reuniting, hugging, and pointing the sun. They did keep the exact same ending, but it makes no sense. See? So the Wachowskis even thanked their fans for telling them what the work means. They still don't get it. So that's what's so amazing about this. Now, their biggest concern you can imagine is they're afraid of the real material being made. They're afraid of this screenplay being made as copyrighted and written. So their own people, including Sophia Stewart's people, has been contacting many times. Even Paul Anderson from Cypher Man in House at Warner Brothers saying, let's do a blend of Cypher Man and the Immortals. Let's do a blend of the Immortals. Let's do Immortals, whether it's this and that. They're trying to blend it and get me on board. What? DC Comics are trying to get me on board? Marvel is trying to get me on board to do a blend of the Immortals? So no one will ever see the matchups. But if we make it the way it is entirely, as was, then we'll see what Joel Silver was talking about when he said he hoped he used up the rest of the story and the 191 matchups that are here, including Jackson Eck, Squiddies, all that. And here's the catch. Sophia Stewart called and said, when all these websites are being struck in interviews with me, she called and said, you can't make your movie. We'll put an injunction on you. I said, go ahead. If we make our movie, you put an injunction on me, that just means there's matchups, we win. If you don't put an injunction on me, it'll show its matchups and we win. You lost. It's the first time I ever heard foul-mouthed Sophia Stewart shut up completely. She didn't say anything. She didn't know what to say for the first time. And she's a yapper. Go to her site and you'll see what she just curses and goes off. She's nasty, nasty piece of low work. And so I just went like this. Okay, well, thanks for calling. End of the call. That's the last I heard from Sophia Stewart. Never called me again. Yeah. We got them. We got them by the balls.
So in this next slide, it says the bizarre story of how the Wazowski sisters created the Matrix code.
They were punished for putting the author's original materials in time and time again. Even in Animatrix, they have Tom Park Althouse across the screen. That's the shot I sent you. And what they do is they move the letters around. They move the letters around. But if you line the letters back up, they line perfectly to Tom Park Althouse. My whole name they put in. They were so obsessed. They said Larry was the one that was really obsessed. So that's what's so wild. That's why he puts the age in on the clock, exact birthday and age on that clock filling the screen because he's obsessed, which is a real problem for Warner Brothers. That's why they're bringing another writer in to do over the work. Isn't that something? If you want to admit there's a theft, then do over the work with somebody else, you know?
Yeah, I don't think I have that in this slide though.
No, you don't have it here. Don't worry about that though. But that's the thing.
That was really good. That was a really good point that you're bringing up. And it's a really nice visual to see, like in the interrogation room when they open it and you see all of your Tom Althouse written backwards. And I think that as a visual would be really good for people that are on here to see, to know that that happened in the movie, because it's just a split second in the movie. But to show it on a screen like this would have been nice, but I have it on a text message from you, and I don't know if I can pull it up on my laptop, so I apologize about that.
No worries at all. One thing I wanted to point out too, if I'll try to find it myself, one of the things I want to point out too is that in Animatrix, why was Animatrix done? Why did they shoot 2 and 3 in 2003 at the same time, same location, 2 and 3 both, using up the rest of the story? And why did they do Animatrix also? Because Animatrix, remember how they were lifting everything off of, you can get rid of these slides now, but why were they, doing the visual storyboard? They're making up off the visual storyboard, the script. That's how they're stealing it, right? And they had that argument about keeping the exact same ending, right? Instead of blowing up, they should have blown it up. The story was all out of whack. And now they're saying it was supposed to be out of whack, not connect. Well, the reason you have Animatrix is that visual storyboard. Everything they didn't use off that visual storyboard when they're making up as they go along, and Joel Silver's hoping they used up the story, is put in Animatrix. So any cool concept in that visual storyboard that, like they had a scene in mind where they fall to the ground and hit just before the ground, they land and stop falling and the nose bleeds. Well, they put that in Animatrix. So they put that in a sequence, including all my stuff. So you're putting all this stuff in Animatrix of the pieces that weren't used as they made up as they went along, on set in 2 and 3. That's why you have Animatrix. Isn't that something?
That is something. And would you like me to just flip through really quickly the screen, so if anybody wants to pause and see the rest of that slideshow?
Go ahead, flip through it. Absolutely. I'll look for this while you're doing that. So that'll allow us to nurture 2 birds with the same food dish. I don't like saying kill them. So yeah. All right. Let's see if I can find this while we're doing that.
So because I think that this does have some good points in it, and it does here have like here it is.
You got it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, show that.
This is just here.
And I'll continue to look too. Yeah, go ahead and show that. That's very important. So I'm glad you found that.
I actually put in the thumbnail of the live. If you go to the thumbnail, you can see I did add that to it, but it's so small. Perfect. But it is there, and it has, if you look at the thumbnail of this live, because we are live right now, which I think is the best way of doing it. But I'm going to show you on my phone. So this is my YouTube channel, Miss Loisel, and I'm just clicking on live videos.
Yep.
So you can see right here. It's right here.
And I found it too. I found it too. So if you want me to share screen, I can show you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's share screen. Okay, I'll go to share screen. You just have to enable, and let's look at this. So I'm glad you gave me the time to do this too. So I'm going to share screen. Share screen. It's going to say, let me see, window. I'm going to say window, and I'm going to go ahead and share. And let me know if you see me. Do you see me?
I see you, but I don't see your screen.
Don't see my screen yet. Let me try again. Oh, you have to enable, I think. So you have to enable it. Let's see. We'll try again here. Let me go back. Let me try one more time. So I'll say stop sharing. Go back to settings.
Present
go back up
right.
here. Here we go. So share. Yeah. So share screen. Share screen. Let me try it again. Entire screen. And then I'm going to go here and share. Yeah. See if it works now.
If you could email it to me and then I could share it on mine because I don't. I see. Oh wait, I see it. Add to stage.
You see me? You see me?
Yeah, I see it. I'm trying to add it to stage.
Okay, add it to stage, and then we'll take a look at this. This is perfect. You're going to see the details now for your live audience. So this is unbelievable. This is what had Sophia Stewart screaming and yelling. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do that because it blows her whole cover and blows it for Warner Brothers. So this is absolutely unreal.
Okay, I just figured out how to share a screen for another.
Go ahead. Go ahead when you're ready.
Yeah, it's on there right now.
Okay, let me go up. Let me see. So here's from the original scene. See that? There it is from the original scene where it's frozen, where he's opening it. Let me go back now. Let me go back to this one. Okay, let me see if I can get this up for you.
And if you want to do Control Plus, so you can kind of see it a little bit better because
mine is
very tiny, but it's the same.
Oh, okay. Control Plus. I mean, how's this? Can you see it okay? Okay, watch how fast. Remember, split second, right? Split second. And Susanna Bolton, their graphic designer, said anything flash for a split second. This is the first graphic they made, first scene they shot, first scene I wrote. Watch how fast my stuff goes by. Bam. And let's do it again. Watch it go. Boom. Gone.
And these are all your stats, your personal stats.
All my personal stats. Now watch this. Watch again. Now this is back with VHS. The only way you're going to capture that VHS is basically it's not going to happen. So, and they have to wait for the movie already to be run. So when you got this here, that's your best shot right there. Now let's turn that, let's isolate. Ready? Let's get out of this. I'm so glad we're doing this.
Yeah.
Now watch this. So we're going to breakdown of that particular one. Here it is, blown up. See it? So that's it. Right side up, and still blurry on the bottom because it's turning. So here it is. This version, I'll keep moving along. Here it is, the way it was upside down, inverted right. They never expect anybody to do this. Look at those entries. So let me put this on the side and go to the breakdown. Here we go. So all those circles right there are personal information. Anything in blue is about me. And we're even missing March 11 circle, which we didn't know at the time. The man who told me all this stuff was here, didn't realize that my fiance's birthday at the time was March 11th, and that should be circled blue also. The red is their people. They put their people in as a joke also. So let's take a look at the breakdown and see what we have. Okay, so what we have is, okay. Here it is right here. Okay, let's pull this up. All right, here we go. This looks very crowded, but let me walk you through. All right, so what we got is that scene shot you just saw, frozen. And see the picture of the pretty girl there? That's Otika Ball, Senator David Boren's niece, top Democratic Party leader at the time. March 11th is right under my name, Thomas A, upside down. So you have March 11th, her birthday. So her birthday is Neo's. My birthday's bumped up. And now what's interesting about July 22nd is that July 22nd isn't my birthday, but according to USAA Insurance, they were like, the only record we find of you to verify you is an entry from 1996 to 99 where it says your birthday is July 22nd. They changed my birthday and then knew they were changing, which shows agency involvement with Hollywood, that the Wachowskis knew my birthday was changed in my records and my social security number erased before they released Matrix. So they put the birthday they had on record for me that USA Insurance found later as the only entry when I was being erased, July 22nd. So that's very important. It not only shows a birthday of the author, it shows the tweet turned birthday when they altered your records. That's even bigger. Then you got Thomas A., my name as Neo, double naming him, March 11th above that, which is the fiance's birthday. Michelle McGahey, the art director, as Neo's mom. Well, the art director's in charge of this graphic. John A., my dad's name as Neo's dad. Central West Junior High. Central West High is my high school. Right there's my diploma in the upper right. Owen Patterson. The reason they have Owen Patterson High School and made my high school junior high is because they want to make the joke that Owen Patterson, the production manager, also responsible for this graphic, has a high school named after him in the Matrix. Isn't that something? So you've got my birthday, my dad's name, my fiance's birthday, my marital status single, my high school. In the column, it says TA 4099. TA was 4099. Larry Wachowski was obsessed about talking about my age because I talked to Bonaventura at the pitch session saying, look, I don't usually, he asked how old I was. I said, I don't give my age out because directors need to have an age range. For me to get work, I need an age range. If they have an age, they're going to fixate on that. So what you do is you offer age ranges on your resume. Mm-hmm. So Larry's going to rub it in. See, so Larry's going to keep punching the age there. Anything to hurt the author, see? Which is what the guy who called me told they were doing. Now look at that animatrix clock on the lower right. You'll see 7, 2, and what's 1 before the 60? 59. Look at the license in the lower corner, 7259. So exact birthday in black, and then why 4 past the 4 in red? Now keep in mind, the industry standard after this was 7-2 on clocks, no longer 10 after 10, the smiling hands. It's now 7-2. Lost, Walking Dead, anything you have, 7-2. On the watches, on the clocks on the wall, everywhere, 7-2. Train station scene in Man in the High Castle, 7-2. Now it's safer to have it's in copyright law, it's safer to have my birthday, the ruined author who had the Matrix, than have 10 after 10 was the standard in the industry before. So you have my birthday on the clock and everything there. Now let's go back. I want to show you something else. So there's more. So if we go up here, let me get rid of this. Isn't that something that, how can they get around that?
Yeah,
They use their attorneys to block it, right? Here's the actual shot from the Animatrix where they're using up the rest of the story and they figure I'm dead, so they're going to go for it. 2003. All right. This is after my son is murdered, so they think I'm rattled. Now watch this. See Brantford High School? Okay. This is from Jumanji. Who was the production manager on Jumanji, right? Who was that? It was this man. Whoops, stop. Right here. Owen Patterson. So Owen Patterson is the production manager on Jumanji. So remember how he put my high school in here, Central West? He's not going to stop. So on Jumanji, Owen Patterson puts Brantford High School. Why? My son Aiden and I were in Canada at Brantford in Ontario. Brantford, the city of Brantford, and he was attending Brantford School. So they put that in Jumanji. The same man who put my high school in Matrix put my son's high school in Jumanji. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
There's Otika and I. This is at Rockefeller's. That's what I looked like when I wrote The Matrix. Not like the Wachowskis. I was smart. I'm not stupid. I was tested as gifted genius.
A long time ago, huh?
Yeah, it was. And there's my fiance. This is right after I was at the pitch session. This is after the pitch session when the Rockefellers threw a celebration thing. So, and there she is again. Here's proof that her birthday was March 11. Tika's birthday. Go on, and you have, there's my birthday. Now, here's that shot I was telling you about. So there they are. This lines up perfectly with my name. Now, interesting enough, you have an antique shop, right? We have antique shops in real life, right? So how do you get an antique shop to be an antique house? What they want to do is mock the author, right? So they want to make Tom Park Althouse. Look at this here. You got Tom, and it's a shop that only sells clocks, and those clocks have my birthday on it, 7-2s. Why do you have a shop of antique house filled with clocks with the author's birthday, and it says Tom, and look at the top there in blue and yellow, the top part, middle, upper. It says Mopar one way. So it says Tom one way by extending the T across it. And then you got Park, the middle in the middle, middle name in the middle, by adding a ghost K in the middle of the name running. So if you line these up, it goes Tom Park Althouse. Now to get the L, you have to point at it to see it. And to get the T, you've got to have it the most highest contrast by having the guy's glasses with a T on it. Now let's go back where this is not highlighted so much. And you can see there, see the Park up top, Park with a ghost K, Park in the middle. So you used Mopar backwards to get Tom one way by extending the line on top, Park the other. It's pretty genius. This costs a fortune to make, this graphic. And it's all part of celebrating using up the story and putting it in blind sight. This is why the Wachowskis were made to be women, look like women. Now, here's the, that is the, right there, the thing people often know about the passport, where it says 9/11. That's not all that's on there. If you go back to this, okay, what's Neo's birthday? Okay, on this one right here, the original, it's Otika's birthday, March 11. March 11, Neo, a birthday, March 11. But here it says his birthday on his passport is September 13th. So the Wachowskis are such clowns, they screwed it up that they gave two different birthdays in order to mock the author by making one the fiance's birthday. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, they messed up on that.
They really messed up. Let's go back to
Yeah.
I'm going to stop sharing screen here. So let me get rid of this. Stop sharing. Okay, am I back?
Okay, so what I'll do, because we just have a few more minutes here, is I'll finish showing
slides. Okay, good.
the slides so we can go through that because we're on an hour right now. So
I have to ask you a question too. Do you get it? Do you see the evidence?
Yeah.
Right. And another question they're always saying, now they're going to have Shill saying he just mumbles. He makes no sense. This is boring. Did I mumble? Did I make any sense? Can I connect the thoughts? Now the agency FBI says I can't put two sentences together. Were you able to follow my thinking? Were you able to follow what I was saying? I know the answer. I know the answer. I'm just saying for the public, can you follow as I talk? Because the FBI is saying you can't understand it.
Absolutely, we can follow.
Well, there you go. Just wanted to verify that. Yeah.
A lot of proof backing you up. And if you don't mind me asking, what happened to your two sons that passed away that were...
The two sons were killed in different ways. I was told by insiders that, this is Pat Robertson. What you're seeing right now is Pat Robertson was the one that began the whole throwing of the case or the theft of the major story. It really is Pat Robertson of Religious Right that sets in motion the theft of the Matrix story. It's him, because I was working at his organization. So he didn't want me having anything that would reveal what was going on in his organization. So they did all these things. There's a U.S. congressman down there who's also a lifelong FBI operative with a picture of my sister in a red dress rewarding him. This is the chief of police that sends SWAT teams at me. My niece that was bought off to try to help put me away for life. It's unbelievable. Anyway, this is Kate Chilton, who was the one that brought Sophia Stewart into Warner Brothers and became, look at that, vice president, senior litigation counsel when I submitted in 93. She was appointed to handle my work, was at my deposition, is a nasty piece of work. She's the architect of the theft, then goes to Netflix to make sure it's stolen. So she becomes Netflix and hires Sophia Stewart to be the fake plaintiff to undo my claims. And so she left Warner Brothers for Netflix immediately after my case was thrown, so they could launder Sensei Alder Carbon through it. And they're saying no working drafts. They have no working drafts. So then the tech was given to Elon Musk. The Jacks the Neck is from my screenplay. And we're now being told that, yes, we could have credit for that. And it was given to Elon Musk through Warner Brothers. Here's the red pill, blue pill, where they switched it. It's not supposed to be a scene where he's offering both. The red pill is offered in the beginning during the interrogation scene because the architect tells Smith he has to do it. Smith doesn't want to do it. He says, here's the program. If you don't take it, you and your family will die. Neo has no choice. Thomas has no choice. Then he ends up in Underground later, cut from the program. They offer the blue pill in Underground. It's not based on the blood of children, so you can get back in the program. The blood of the children is the red pill. Every time people say they're red pilled, they're saying they're ingesting the blood of the children and agree to it. It's a bad pill. And they reversed it so people will say that. Now, universally, people say they're red pilled. How many programs you see as red pilled? And people say, I'm red pilled. Senators and Congress say they're red pilled. That means you're agreeing that the blood of the children should be ingested for a longevity program.
Well, we don't want that.
No. So
So take the blue pill.
Yeah, that's right. The blue is the good pill. It represents the the author, and what you see through his eyes, as I was whispering through art to warn what was coming, as I was made privy to it at Robertson's organization. Yeah, I think I can tie the sentences together. So yeah, anyway. Okay, so the thing is, my manager was putting this up here, is that these things are very important, basically prophetic. They're all coming true. Even the fake Oval Office is in their work. So what you have is Hollywood and the government imitating the artwork, life imitating art. Isn't that something? And there's a website. So anyway, yeah, there it is. There's a lot of material here. Oh, and George Michael was killed in 2016 on Christmas. They say his heart gave out, which is code for murdered. And that was done because he was the best witness when all these things were taken, all these original drafts were taken. He was the best witness that it was done in 93, because you can see right there, George Michael read the entire script before we submitted in 93, June 25th, 1993. And he gave me permission to submit it, saying, quote, I remember what he said. He said, let's send it in and see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. So he's the one that was the best witness that was a full script in 93. These are the end credits.
And when did The Matrix come out? What year was that?
1999. So that's why that tag on the bottom of the screenplay right here, which is not a forgery. It cannot be denied. This is original. We have them signing it. It's the PA number. All that's there. It can be looked up. There's no way they can get around it. They're such idiots at Warner Brothers and Sophia Stewart and all them. Joel Silver's an idiot. So 1998, it says right there, stamped by the Copyright Office, shot in 1999. Shot in 1999. That's
you see the 9.
Yeah. Isn't that something? Yeah. Thanks for doing this, because this is just like very important to come out. I believe we're at a turning point, a huge turning point, because of all the things that have been happening recently we've been talking about. So I think I'm getting out of the train station scene. And finally, since they said they put me in my real life movie, I think we're actually going to break free now, and everything's going to come true. I think people can't get around this. Right. And they know it's inevitable. That's why the CIA restored my work and all these drafts. They know there's no way around it. It's all going to come true. And thank you to them. I never imagined I'd be thanking the CIA for what they did. But, thank you for them for doing it. That's why the FBI is operating on foreign soil now. They're not happy because the CIA is supposed to do that. Well, the CIA is not really disrupting everything right now. It's the FBI going on foreign soil to disrupt things like the Ukraine. What happened was, it was that Brian Fitzpatrick rewarding my sister in the red dress on the floor of Congress. What you have is he's the one that was sent by the FBI to Ukraine to stabilize it in 2014, to make it so they could do bioweapon research. They could experiment, even have a gentleman's club in New Hope, Pennsylvania, where he's at, where they brought young girls over. They hang the Ukrainian flag in front of it, trafficking, everything, to tweak Putin's nose. It was the FBI that did all that. The FBI that went over to destabilize their country by getting rid of Vicar Shokum, who was basically the equivalent of Attorney General of our Attorney General, and destroyed his life just like they were destroying mine. So my sons died. One died a Masonic death, which was he died in the shallows of a lap pool in a military base in Japan, which is the Masonic death for traitors. If you are a traitor in the Masons, you take a vow that with a sword point on your bare-breasted chest, where you're blindfolded, you vow that if you ever betray the Masons, you'll die in the shallows, a cable length from shore, disemboweled. So they killed my son in a lap pool in the shallows. It's a message. They always give messages in their murders, Epstein to anybody. So what you have also is my other son is killed by a snowplow. He's killed. It was the sheriff's department or the police department in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, that killed my son with the FBI. They shot him into the car, and they burned his body, decremated it before I could ever see it. What they did was they put the snowplow up against his SUV after they shot him, and they have it just against it and claimed that he died instantly from crashing with the snowplow. They didn't want to damage the snowplow, so they just put the snowplow against it. There's no damage on the passenger side. So how's that instant death? And so the police are very corrupt in Montgomery County and Warrington Township, Pennsylvania. They're completely bought off into murder in Pennsylvania. They do murder. The chief of police is behind it all. And the FBI gives the chief of police a yellow brick to hang behind his chair. He has a sign of the yellow brick and a flag of the FBI Academy. They bring him to Quantico, Virginia. Get this. So they could be trained by the FBI for a week to be stooges for the FBI. So you can go after targets locally that are U.S. citizens that might have something on the FBI. The FBI statement is they only go after those that go after them. Why are they even in existence then? That means like peace in our country if they get rid of the FBI, if they only go after those who go after them. So the Yellow Brick Road program is about bringing in, they pick who they're going to get. Chief of police, usually white guys, are brought in and they're reconditioned to support the FBI for whatever they want and go after U.S. citizens. That's why this chief of police deal has the yellow brick road behind his head, the one that sent the SWAT team after me. And they're rewarded well. SWAT team helicopter, SWAT team, anything else. So I've been hauled off by the SWAT team many times to be put away for life because this man thinks he wrote The Matrix. Yeah, okay, right. Well,
what a story.
I do think I
What a
wrote
life.
The Matrix. Yeah.
You do know you wrote it, you mean?
Only one with the copyright. And look what they stuck in The Matrix itself that made them have to be women, the Wachowskis. Thank you for doing this. Thanks for showing this.
Thank you.
See, yeah, and laugh at the comments. If anybody ever says, you know, he's fake, he's a liar, you can laugh with me because they're just idiots that do that. And God bless those that get it, because it's time to wake up. It's time to take the blue pill. The blue pill is the one that gets us back in.
Blue pill.
Yeah, it's the good pill. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Tom.